FT Live at spring training. It's Braun and Kratz. Kratz dancing as always. AJ dancing in his home state of Florida as we're at Marlins camp today. And I hear we're getting ready for Clayton McCullough, Marlins manager. So we're excited for that. Kratz, would you also like to let everyone know a little reminder of when they can catch us live for the next 3 weeks?
Set your alarm. Set your alarm for 10:59 because our show comes on 11 to 1. Think about it. Spring training games start at 1. We want the players on, the coaches, the managers on, 11 to 1. We'll see you for the next 3 weeks.
Thank you. Also, stay tuned for some announcements about World Baseball Classic post-game shows. So we'll let you know more about that info as it comes along a little bit later this week. We'll be following Team USA a little closer than everyone else, but we'll also follow some of those other superstar-packed squads. We're going to get to Clayton McCullough in just a second, so we're setting him up. So we're not even going to get to any other segments. We're going to go right to Marlins camp. We're expecting quite a few big names from Marlins camp today. Their manager, Kyle Stowers, is on the guest list. Xaiver Edwards is on the guest list. Tyler Phillips is on the guest list. So we'll see how many we can get to in this little 2-hour extravaganza. We'll get them all live. Chris Paddack on the guest list as well, recent signing. Otherwise, things to look forward to. We will talk about the World Baseball Classic, do some power rankings on that front, and we'll do a little That's What He Said. On spring training extensions, we actually haven't really seen any, which is interesting so far, right? I mean, conversation.
There's one.
Yeah,
there's one that got done with Ollie Marmol, manager of the Cardinals. There's one that would be the greatest move for this organization. See if you can guess it. The guy's not even in the big leagues yet.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm not going to say it yet.
We'll see. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm saying there should be nothing. There should be no more push for that organization to get this guy locked in.
Actually, while you mentioned that, just because we have one more moment getting set up out there, we didn't get to this yesterday because it was announced during the show. The spring breakout has been around for a couple years. That's when you get a lot of the top prospects playing in games during spring. It's fun. I mean, we love prospects. You get a lot of them in the same game facing off, right? Because usually during a season, you'll see guys spread out across the minor leagues. And this enables a team to say, hey, let's take our top 10, 15, 20 prospects, whatever it is, as many as we can get, and put them in one game for our particular team against another team in that same spot. That'll happen later on in March. The games this year are scheduled for the 19th through the 22nd. That'll get us past World Baseball Classic. It's fun. So we get WBC, then we get spring breakout. Going forward, we're actually going to get that done as a tournament, which I think is pretty fun. So they're going to do single elimination head-to-head. Did you hear about this? You might have missed this yesterday.
What?
Yeah. Starting next year, I think they've got it locked in for at least the next couple of years. They're going to do that. Remember, last year might get a little bit tricky because we're going to have a lockout. It'll probably go into spring training, but
don't hit you.
Minor leaguers don't have to deal with that. If you're not on the 40-man roster, their CBA expires a year later. So we might get minor league spring training breakout games, and it'll be a tournament, and there'll be a lot of people checking that out. Before you comment,
we'll be at the end of spring training?
It's late in spring training. That's always the plan, is to do it in late March. All right, let's get out to Jupiter and see if we're good to go. Let's go to AJ here. The windy conditions are a little fun out there today. AJ, you got us, bud? Oh, let's throw to our interview first. Here we go.
This one right here, Mike. Okay. All right.
Here we go. AJ and Marlins manager Clayton McCullough with us right now. Looks like the wind is flowing. We will do this for a few minutes until the tornado hits. Clayton, great to have you on. Thank you for the time. How is everything?
Of course, things are going well. Yes, it's a little blustery here right now in Jupiter.
Yeah, here's the problem. We have Mark and Michael holding the tent, and I'm like, you can have it hit me, but Clayton's sitting on the tent side. If it hits him, we're going to have action. So let's keep it off of him if we can.
Okay. We'll keep you safe. You sound good, though. And how does the team look? Before, obviously, many players jumped to their World Baseball Classic teams in the past couple of days. What did the full squad look like?
It's been a good start to our camp. And we felt like there was a lot of optimism and excitement from how things finished with us last year, certainly recognizing that we have a long way to go to put ourselves, we believe, in a position to consistently compete for the NL East and postseason appearances. But our crew really had, probably everybody's saying this, but had a great offseason. A lot of guys physically came in a great spot, some weight gains, strength gains. So from that end, it's been a good start to camp with a lot of optimism and a ton of competition going on throughout each day.
How much is that stuff monitored? You talk about strength gains, weight loss, all that stuff. How much do you guys monitor it as a Marlins organization?
Yeah, it's something that we stayed on. We were very diligent about our strength and conditioning staff, our training staff. We have a team of nutritionists that were, checkups with our players, every couple of weeks, and that, then also the field staff members, myself and our pitching staff, hitting staff. So we tried to really have a lot of touch points with our players during the off season, and again to not to police them, but also just to try to, hey, where are you at now? These are some goals we set for you. Entering in the off season as we get to spring training, trying to hit marks, and proud of our group for how open they were to that line of communication that we were sending across the bow, so to speak. And I think they recognize that being fast and powerful and explosive is an important part of our sport.
Do you think you guys can do more? You came from the Blue Jays back when I was there. Then you went to the Dodgers and saw what they were doing in their development. Do you feel like when you go to an organization like the Marlins, who aren't going to spend in free agency, that's obvious, do you feel like you can do more? Because I think people from the outside think, oh man, he's a professional baseball player. They must always just be training him and doing all this stuff. Could you guys as an organization do more?
I think we're certainly trying to do more, and we've invested a lot of capital into that side of things. I mean, if you come see our facility now here in Jupiter, the renovations that were done here are incredible. Our weight room, training room facility now is a separate building and a large turf area. So I think that statement alone sends a great message to our players of the importance and significance that we're putting on that, as well as renovations that have been done in Miami. So it's certainly an area that we are prioritizing and placing a lot of emphasis on, and believing it's just another way that we can hopefully develop our players in a sense, and that way better than other people.
Do you call the guys personally? Because you said your trainers and your weight room and the nutritionists. How about you? Do you call or do you go see them personally?
I do. I try. I do. I give them all a little bit of space when the season finished, and I myself personally, like some time when we spent so much time together, as you guys know, and then everyone's go home and reconnect. Like go back with your loved ones, your family. A lot of these guys are, myself included, fathers and husbands. So have some time to digest things before you shift to getting ready for next year. But it happens quickly, and then it is phone calls, text. We have a number of players that live in this area in the off season, so having the chance to be able to go watch them as they get into their bullpens. Sandy and Uri aren't too far down the road towards Miami, so do try to get out and see some guys in person, and stay connected, via text and phone as well.
How do you handle the WBC stuff as a manager? You're playing Team Israel today. You treat that like a regular game, and then how do you handle your own guys like Sandy that are gone to the Dominican? You just sit there and say, please, just get him through this healthy.
We certainly probably all want our guys to come back here healthy. And this conversation I have, Ernie Witt with Team Canada, we have 3 players there. Ernie's great. Albert Pujols with the DR. We've been in contact with Team Italy, with Marcy is, and more just try to give them a gauge of, where our players were in camp, what we're able to do from a build-up standpoint, get a gauge, an idea of how they're seeing that the playing time look like their end, and want to appreciate that they want to go win. And this tournament is a big deal for each representative country, as well as the sport of baseball. While also, we have a selfish interest in our own players, continuing to play, which they'd be doing here, but also hopefully coming back to our camp healthy.
Did you have any arguments or reservations about any of your players going as an organization and you being part of those conversations?
Yeah, no, we didn't have any real reservations. I mean, I was excited for Sandy. I mean, I know imagine how important that is for him to put on the DR uniform, get to pitch in Lone Depot. He's going to throw against Team Venezuela, which will be an electric atmosphere. And with so many youthful players on our roster, someone like Liam Hicks, who, it wasn't long ago, he's in the Texas League, and then now he has a year of service. He has a chance to play for Team Canada. I think it's a great opportunity for them to be in some environments that we hope that we're playing in in the not too distant future to feel that a little bit and, get that type of energy and excitement. And so for the most part, I'm excited for them having a chance to go do that. And certainly, fingers crossed they come back and in a good spot for us.
Where are you guys at this year? Because last year was better probably than most people expected. And we have some Marlin fans in Twitter and in our chat that defend you guys like to the death, right? And when you guys traded Weathers, I said, man, that seems like a guy they might want to keep. And they're like, oh, they got pitching for months. They got 20 prospect pitchers. They have plenty of pitchers. So how do you balance last year with what you guys did and now you have a little bit of expectations to move to this year?
Yeah, the expectations are good. I think it's something that we're embracing. But I said it to our group last year that a lot of the outside noise and how people may predict or forecast what type of season we're going to have will have little bearing on what we actually do. And what we did in 25 will have little to do with how we play in 26. Like, we need to get better across the board. We need the players that somewhat establish themselves as ones we're counting on this year to continue to take steps. And if there's anything really different this year than last year, I do think we come into this camp with a little more clarity in a lot of places on the field, while still having runway open for a lot of individuals to get an opportunity if they perform their way there. And look, we can never have enough pitching. No one can. We do feel like we have a talented group of arms that are either going to break and start with us in Miami, or those that will be in AAA that will compete and perform their way to our team if needed. So the outlook we feel like is bright, and not just on the field at the major league level. We think organizationally, a lot of initiatives and things that we put into place, we believe are going to be firmer this year and hopefully allow us as an entire group to continue to move forward.
Hey, I know your team didn't make the postseason last year, but it was a fun finish to the season. Your team was able to play spoiler against a club that would have made the playoffs. What was your take on what happened there in the last few days? I remember when we covered it, we were like, good for them. Let them celebrate. I mean, you're trying to win every single game. I felt like some maybe, up north in where I am right now in New York, press-wise, or people on social media were like, oh, how dare they celebrate? What a loser take to celebrate beating a team and playing spoiler. And I was like, completely disagreeing with that. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, we were in Philadelphia before that series, and like we were telling ourselves, hey, we have a chip and a chair. Like, we still had a very small but a realistic chance of getting in. And when the sun set on our season, we were disappointed. But then also we told them, guys, like, your job, like, we're finishing this season. Like, we set out this year to, play every game all the way out, and let's the Mets and ruin their season. Like, we're going to go out there and we owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to the fans that are going to come out here to go, and you're professionals. Like, we need to go play these games to win like we have every other day this season. And if we're able to win this series and knock the Mets out, then they can go enjoy the same off season that we're about to have. So we didn't feel sorry for the Mets. I can promise you that.
You did it. You actually did do it.
We played well that series.
It was great for the Marlins and for your players.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a playoff atmosphere where you have to win the games. That it can only help you down the road.
Exactly. We want our guys to feel that, and that every year that we get late into September, that there is something on the line with every game that we're playing. And that feeling when we do get to October is only going to be magnified, and to appreciate what it takes to put yourself in position to be playing those games, and trust that what you've done to that point has prepared you for what's ahead.
By the way, how do you deal with? Oh, sorry, Kratz. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, did you have to be the one to say that? Did your coaches have to be the one to say, guys, we're not giving up on this? You guys, I get it. We didn't get where we wanted to be, the playoffs, but was there players in that clubhouse when you see young teams, you just wonder, like, who's the guy that steps up? Were there players that stepped up and said, hey, guys, like, we still are going to play this all the way out and we can play spoiler?
Yeah, it was probably the only team meeting I think I had all season long was when we got back to Miami after the Philadelphia series. And it was one, I expressed my disappointment. Like, I tell them, like, there's nothing better, those of you that haven't experienced, than popping champagne. And whether that's, getting in as a wild card or winning a division, winning playoff series. So I was disappointed that you guys this year aren't going to have the chance to feel that. But that doesn't mean that, like, what we have now, these 3 games, is still, like, let's not forget what we, when we set our goals for this season, it was to be better than we started, and it was to finish strong, and we have that opportunity still. So, look, Sandy was going to pitch that first game. Like, everybody sitting in this room, like, you owe it to whoever's out there to come out and play your very best. Yuri's going to care tomorrow what this about this game, cabbie the next day. So you owe it. It's more than just you. It's about your teammates and your professional responsibility to come out here and this is just what we do.
What did it mean more that it was in the division? Because you listen, the division is your division, right? You obviously have the Mets, who are now turned into kind of a spending behemoth. Philly's not afraid. Atlanta's done a nice thing with what they've done. The Nationals are, they used to be one of those teams, and then you have the Marlins, right? Does it mean more like you beat the Mets to knock them out of the playoffs? I know you didn't get in. Does it still mean more to win against teams in your division?
It definitely means more to winning in your division. Like that's something, if we ever, we want to win this division, and you need to beat the teams in your division. And we think this is a great opportunity for us. I mean, yes, I love Carlos Mendoza and the Mets, and they have a great roster, and Walt Weiss in Atlanta, and they've had a ton of success. Rob Thompson in Philly, he's such a pro, and their group of veteran professionals. And Washington's they're gonna make some moves here, in the next few years. So we look at our division as a really exciting challenge and something we're embracing. So to say it wasn't a little sweeter to knock out a divisional opponent, I think now as I sit here, I'd be making that up.
Right,
it felt good.
Before we let you go, I got to ask you this because we've had a conversation and you guys are doing it. You're calling the pitches as a catcher. You're calling the pitches from the dugout. Why? And it breaks my heart.
I know.
Do you not have a catcher that can call the own game? That can call their game.
I knew AJ and Erik would not.
I wasn't going to
like this one.
You got to thank.
No, we got to do it.
I'm not getting.
We should talk about it. It was something that this was. I mean, even shortly after I was hired, that this was organizationally, we were discussing this as we felt like this is it had real potential. Not about what our catchers could or couldn't do, but we just felt like that the delivery system changing, where we can get what we feel like is the optimal pitch each time sent in, that choice A sent in each time. We felt that it would be advantageous for us, and our pitchers would perform better. We'd prevent more runs over time. Again, leaning into their strengths, and our pitching coach is doing so much work, and they have information being sent to them. Our catchers freeing them up some from this, and this is not going to be a take that everyone certainly agrees with, but expending their bandwidth in other areas, while ultimately we think it's going to lead to us winning more games. And with where we're at, 2 wins in a season, 1 extra win could be the difference in us, continuing to play or not. And I felt like the juncture in the season at when we implemented this, the last 8 games, was the right time from just a trust standpoint. We threw so much at our group last year from day one of spring training through the season that we knew this wasn't going to be a very popular take. But that was okay. I have no problem, answering all of those questions and standing up for our group, and that the amount of trust that our pitching coaches had built and equity with our pitchers throughout that it was the time to roll this out, knowing that this year we were going to do it full time. And just again, our catchers and our pitchers have the ability to shake. We have the same pregame type meetings where we're talking about their strengths and usages, and hitters. The conversations in the dugout are very similar. The difference is who's initiating choice A, where it's going is just starting from a different place.
Yeah, I get it. I do get it. But I mean, that was something as a catcher you kind of had to learn, and it kind of became a strength for people. So to me, again, I'm obviously played forever ago, and I don't want to be the old guy on the lawn. I mean, I get why you do it, because everybody, high school, college, they never get to call their own pitches before until they got to the minor leagues. And a lot of the catchers said, well, I don't even know what I'm doing. I've never had to do this before. But what do you say to Kratz and I, that's argument would be, well, you're not back there, so you can't see. Maybe Sandy doesn't have his slider that day, but maybe it might be the right time to throw a slider, but he's throwing spinners that day, or he can't locate it. We need a good 3-2 slider, but his sinker's really working that day. Let's say it's the first inning, it's a big situation, and you haven't had time to have that conversation with the pitching coach, and then whack, God forbid, he gives up a bases clearing double, and the catcher's like, yeah, but his slider wasn't good in the bullpen, and it wasn't good that first inning.
Yeah, I mean, we know those are things that are coming, and the feel component that catchers have from sitting back there. Certainly, I think I would say that, look, we believe that, yes, this first inning, that might not have been the pitch, but we are talking about, every game, every pitch of the season. And we believe that this strategy is going to win out. And we're also, AJ, man, I'm going to lean on you with how you think things are going and feeling, and your soft skills as a catcher, and your ability to get this person in the zone, and your targeting, and the conversations you have, and when to go kick them in the butt, are just as imperative and important as they've always been.
Okay, that's fair. Listen, I don't have to like it, but we'll see how it goes. So, I mean, I appreciate you giving me the reason. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
Nope.
And you said people aren't going to like it, but as an old catcher, and Kratz, I know Kratz, Kratz feels the same. It's just.
I'm not as old as you. I'm not
True,
as old
you're not.
as you. You're a living fossil.
True, but yeah, I understand. I understand. So I appreciate you explaining it to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Doesn't mean I have to agree.
Of course
not. Still be friends.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're breaking their hearts a little bit, but I'm glad we talked about this. Great question from AJ. And yeah, you got two catchers mostly hosting the show. So thank you for the time, Clayton. Really appreciate it and the answer there. Good luck this season. We'll catch you at some point during the year. Okay.
Okay, guys. Love the visit. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, FT fam. We'll be right back with Xaiver Edwards, second baseman for the Marlins. All right, we're back. So let's chat for a couple minutes here on YouTube. Kratz still dancing. And then the TV crowd will come back from commercial break. We timed that perfectly, hopefully with Xaiver Edwards sitting down and getting ready for our next conversation. Again, eventually we'll talk WBC, maybe a little extension season talk, but the Marlins are also rolling out the carpet for us and bringing us a bunch of guests. So we'll get to as many of those as possible. We put a lot of time and money into doing this tour. So the more interviews, the better. We can recap the conversation from before Clayton McCullough, Kratz, because I stopped you since the interview was ready to go. Spring breakout. That's the top prospects in the sport for their respective teams playing an exhibition game starting next year. That will be a single elimination tournament to determine a champ in the Cactus League and in the Grapefruit League. To me, it's two things here. Number one, it makes those games more interesting. Number two, it is MLB's attempt at a tournament without doing an in-season tournament like the NBA. And the NBA, I think, has lost its way a little bit right now in the regular season. So this is fun and harmless, right? And number three, next year, I think that tournament goes on regardless of what's happening in our sport at the lockout level, because most of those players are minor league players. They're not on 40-man rosters. If you are on a 40-man roster, that's different. Then you won't be playing. But if you're not, the minor league collective bargaining agreement doesn't expire until a year later. So the minor league season will play next year, and they will be in their regular camp and prep format going into the year, unlike MLB players, which will almost certainly be delayed heading into spring training if we do have a spring training.
I love it. Well, I don't love the fact that there could be a little delayed spring training start. My hope is that doesn't happen. But I love this tournament. I love the fact that they're able to kind of find, because we're always looking for that like niche. It's too early to do this. Can never do it in the middle of the season. There's so many give and takes, but this is a bunch of minor leaguers who really at the end of spring training, you're like, oh man, let's get going. And they're pitting organization versus organization. You win, you move on. You lose, you got to go back to learning how to run to first base at 9:00 in the morning on field 6. So I think there's motivation. And you know what else it does? It sells the future of the game, which is all I ask for from anything in Major League Baseball.
And they should also incentivize them, Kratz. It doesn't have to be money, but it could be like a really, really swaggy gift bag, like thousands of dollar gift bag.
Love that.
More from Marlins camp. Let's talk to Xaiver Edwards right now, second baseman for Miami. Xaiver, great to have you on the show. We appreciate the time. How's camp going for you, and how are some of the new faces looking there?
Yeah, camp's going great. Excited to be here. I think all of us are kind of, we're at that midway point. We're kind of ready to get going with the season, kind of get on our way. But yeah, it's been good so far, and a lot of new guys look really good. Some of the new staff that we got, we're getting to know them, and they've been really good this far. So they're really excited.
Do they come to you for answers? You're kind of like one of the veterans on this team now. Does the new people come to you and say, Xaiver, what do you got on Miami for us?
No, I mean, I think that's kind of a advantage, I guess, that I have, that all of us are so young that, sure, I've been in the league a little bit longer than them, but I haven't been in the league that long. I'm not in arbitration yet. Neither is Stowers. So I think we're all kind of in the same boat or similar boat. We're young guys just trying to, make a name for ourselves and hope our team wins. So I think that's kind of an advantage of ours. We don't have any, quote unquote salty vets or anything like that. So we kind of just be ourselves and, feed off each other and learn from each other. So it's a good group.
The salty vets make the world go around. Okay. Just remember that.
Yeah. In some clubhouses they might, but in ours, I don't know if they do.
All right. Before we get too deep into the Marlins, I have a question for you. You're born in New York, Long Island. You guys know?
That's right.
Right. But you moved to Florida. When did you move to Florida?
When I was 5.
So which one do you claim?
Florida. Yeah,
Me
Florida.
too. I was born on Long Island. I moved here when I was 2, but I use Long Island when I need it.
Right.
This is one of those.
When we're in New York, you need it, but
that's right.
Other than that, it's like Florida boy through and through.
Right. So you're from North Broward, which is close to Miami.
It's in between. So I'm from Palm Beach County. I'm from Wellington. I'm like 35 minutes from here, and then now I live in Boynton Beach. But yeah, my wife's from actually Miami, born and raised Miami. So I'm kind of spent a lot of time between Miami and Palm Beach County. My parents are in Palm Beach.
Like hometown kid.
Yeah, something like that. I've got a little bit of both. An hour away, but not too far. So as close as you can get without being from Miami for sure.
X, can you be a leader? Because when we played together, you were like 12 years old, and you were quiet. And how much have you had to not adapt, but like how much have you had to change based on your success in the big leagues, and then like, other guys coming to you and being like, hey, I need to know how this goes, or I need to know how that goes. Because now that you're in the ripe old age of 25.
I mean, it's not really, I think I can be a leader without, standing in front of the whole clubhouse and speaking. That's not really my thing. But really just kind of lead by example, try to be, at the right place, the right time, do the right things, kind of show the younger guys just, where to be, what to do. But besides that, I'm just like them. I'm not gonna, go trip them or, try to play my seniority over them. I think, we're teammates. We need, everyone on our 40-man, even some guys that aren't on it, to, win meaningful games at the end of the year. And it starts with everybody. So making everyone feel comfortable. We don't want anyone to feel like they can't come up to, myself or anybody else on our team. We want to be, as open of a book as we can be. And I like to be approachable. I know what it was like to get an older clubhouse as a younger player and not feel comfortable asking people things or not knowing where to be. So, I never want people to feel like that around me. And, my parents raised me that way to kind of treat people the way you want to be treated. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Was Kratz the crusty old guy when you played with him?
So I played with him on USA. So I don't think
just happy to be there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really, crusty at USA, right? We were there for it was kind of long. It was almost 4 weeks. But yeah, he's happy to be there. I think it was on the tail end of his career. Great teammate, great leader. He is someone who is vocal, so he could get in front of the clubhouse and give us a good speech, or
give me your best speech.
Tell us young guys. You want me to give it? Or you want Kratz to give it?
What Kratz gave you? What did he say to you guys? Did he get up there and give the miracle speech?
No,
this is our moment, guys.
No, he's professional. You know what you need to do. Get yourself ready for the game. Take pride in wearing USA across your chest. Something of the sorts.
Okay, just checking.
Just professional. He's a pro.
I did cry, right, X? I cried when I talked at the end after we got beat by Mexico.
Yeah, you did cry. That was a meaningful moment for you on the back end of your career. But yeah, it was great to be a teammate with him.
That was the apex of my career, X. That was the apex. My career was just going all the way till that point, and then I just quit, and then it went out.
Nice. All right, X. Let's get back to the team for a moment here. So heading into this season, can you give us a name or two that you think is going to take the next step? One of your teammates that you saw maybe start to really show things at the end of last year, or even somebody that in camp has been very impressive that hasn't even cracked the bigs yet?
I think Liam Hicks has looked really, really good behind the dish.
Sure.
No, he was here the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's gone now.
Yeah, he's gone now. But yeah, when I saw him play a few days ago, he looked really, really good. Throwing the ball well, playing good defense, hitting the ball really well. So off to a really good start this spring. Only 2, man. I'll go Graham Pauly. I know he hasn't been throwing that much, but I think he looks really good as well. And also Norby, I guess they're kind of battling out at third base, but I think they're both going to be a big part of our team, and they both look really good this spring, working on different things, but definitely both going to be big parts for our team.
Okay. I've got a little trivia question for our guys, Kratz and AJ. Xaiver led the league against a certain pitch this year, or last year, I should say. Do you guys know what pitch it is? And X, do you know what pitch it is? If you do, hold back on it for a moment.
I got to guess.
Okay. Kratz or AJ, do you want to guess?
Got to be like a knuckleball or something like.
No, like a fastball.
No, neither of those. X, do you know what it is?
My guess is a cutter.
No, I have you down as 11 for 26 last year against sweepers. That's 423, best in baseball, minimum of whatever 30 plate appearances. Do you remember hitting sweepers good last year? I mean, I guess not as much as cutters, maybe.
Couldn't remember hitting a single sweeper. It's so hard.
Left-handed sweepers or right-handed?
So hard. Sweepers, sliders, curveballs. They're all this more or less the same thing. Some guys actually sweep. Some of them back up. Who knows what a sweeper is anymore?
Thank you. By the way, thank you for that.
Sweeper, sliders,
any pitches anymore.
Backup sliders.
We haven't talked about that in a while, actually, right? Where AJ was on his front saying we're not going to give this pitch a new name, but it kind of won out. The pitch name won out. So what would be your key to hitting off speed? How do you get yourself hitting off speed the way that you do, and really being one of the few guys in the league, X, that still has a batting average at a spot where 20 years ago we'd be like, oh, this guy can hit. Nowadays, the league average has plummeted, and yet you're one of those guys who, I think has a chance to hit 300 plus this year, right?
Yeah, I pride myself on average, and that stat is really important to me. Just kind of the hitter I've been my whole life. My dad kind of ingrained that in me at an early age. Getting on base, obviously on base percentage, but having a high batting average typically goes with that if you can walk a bit. So that's been important for me. And then hitting on the off-speed front, keeping your weight back, try not to lunge. Doing your best to stay to the big part of the field, I would say, is how you stay on more pitches than not. Not selling out to one in particular. If you, in theory, hit a fastball the other way, you should be able to stay on an off-speed pitch a little bit better. So, there's some give and take to hitting, the nuance of it. But I would say
maybe you're a little fast guy, dude.
Yeah,
it's easier for you.
Pitch back.
You don't have to. You can get those infield knocks.
I can.
Stay back and hit the six hopper in the hole to the shortstop.
Sometimes, yeah. The shortstop's got good arms now. They can throw.
They didn't have good arms back in the day.
Yeah, they did. I don't know if they were as big, but they had some good arms.
Oh, Cal Ripken, he was tiny.
Shifting now, yeah.
Jeter, he was
different game. A little bit.
Yeah.
Not that different. Oh, it's not that different, but it's a little different.
Oh, because us big
more
guys
computers.
Hit the ball. Like you can stay back and.
I can shoot them through the 6 hole sometimes. Sometimes hit liner up the middle. If they're not standing there, they're kind of standing there a lot of times now. Used to be hit all the time when you were younger, right? Not anymore. Got the guy standing right behind second base.
The last one from me. You mentioned you're not arbitration eligible yet. Everybody as a player knows you start making money in arbitration, free agency, all that stuff. You lack what the game calls, he doesn't have a ton of power. I've seen you hit some dingers. I've seen you hit the ball in the gaps and run. You see Luis Arraez go through his free agency, a guy who is a batting title champion. To me, I think you have a chance to be a batting title champion. Like, to me, do you look at that and go, dang, like the game doesn't really like my style? Or you're like, it's okay, I'm just going to go out and be me? Or do you try to maybe incorporate something that would enable you to have more power so you don't get into a spot like Luis Arraez had this offseason?
It's a great question. I think me and Louis are just so different players. I love Louis. I love playing with him. I mean, his bat-to-ball skills speak for themselves. His ability to put the ball where the defender is not also speaks for itself. But I think we're different hitters. We're different players, different defenders. So I'd like to think that plays into the equation to some extent, your overall WAR and, what position you're going to play and that kind of thing, your versatility. I switch hit. He just hits lefty. So I'd like to think that plays into the fact. So, no, I don't really compare our games to each other or kind of what his free agency situation was like to what mine will potentially be like. But no, I think that there's a blend. There's a mix of, taking your shot 2 0s and 3 1s, when your leverage counts. And then also knowing with 2 strikes that what kind of hitter I've been in my career and what hitter I want to continue to be. Shorten up, use a 2-strike approach, put the ball in play because that's better than a strikeout. Baseball hasn't changed that much regardless of the computers and the technology behind the game. Like putting the ball in play is maybe not always, but a lot of the time is going to be better than not putting the ball in play. And it gives our team a chance. It gives me a chance to get on base and do something for the team versus walking back to dugout. It gives me no chance. So I understand that, but I understand also where the game is and what is valued. And I think there's room for both. So to take my chances, but also not forget who I am as a hitter.
By the way, so what you just said is awesome about everything. You understand all that, but how do you explain that to teams though? Because what's valued is strikeouts, power, right? But your strengths are speed on base, stealing, triples, right? Taking the extra base, putting pressure on the team.
100%.
How do you explain to a team that's good? Because I think it's great.
Yeah.
Like, I remember as a catcher, I'd much rather face a dude. He might hit 40 and strike out 200 times than a guy like you that we used to call you fleas. Like, if you're a flea, I hate those little fleas, right?
Yeah, long at bats, foul balls.
Get on first. I'm like, he's gonna steal. Now I can't throw it away. My pitcher's gonna get in his head. Right. He's gonna try to speed up. Then the next guy, he's gonna hang a slider too because he's trying to be quick. Like, there's so much value in what you do, but how do you get teams to understand that?
The short answer is WAR. Really, the short answer is WAR. You know, that's kind of the end all be all right now in baseball, and luckily there's a lot of ways to increase your WAR. You know, taking the extra base, you get WAR points for that. You know, making defensive plays, getting on base, scoring runs, all things that help win games. Now it's quantified. You know, like it wasn't before, but now it is. So that's the short answer. Long answer. I think if you just watch winning plays, winning baseball, like, yes, every team has guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but they don't have 9 guys in their lineup that can just all slug, and there's no move the runner over. There's no small ball. There's no taking extra base, no running the bases the right way. I think the best teams have a blend of that, and I think it's important. Like, you know, the Blue Jays were, you know, an inch or a couple inches away from winning a World Series, and I feel like they had a lot of that. They were different than the Dodgers, but they had power. You know, power with Vladdy and some of the other bats that they have, but they also had guys who put the ball in play and put pressure on the defense. You know, it almost won a World Series. So if it can get them there, every other team in the league, the proof is in the pudding. You know, the success it leaves clues, and I think that winning shows up, winning teams, and those things I think you can't teach.
By the way, before I let you go real quick, do you have your phone in your back pocket? You're like, I got a single, so my WAR just went up 0.1.
No, you don't think about it. You don't look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, every once in a while you might check it out or whatever, but not too often. I try to just play. I think baseball goes better when you just play it, man. It's a game at the end of the day.
Agreed.
Yeah, great call there. And yeah, Ernie Clement, good example of what he did in the playoffs for the Blue Jays. I mean, they wouldn't be where they were without him last year in October. X, thanks for joining us. Great insight, man, and good luck this season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, we've got your teammate Tyler Phillips ready to go when we come back.
He's only 4 for 18. Only 4 for 18. But I believe he's put 15 balls in play. 11 of them have been hard hit, 95 plus miles per hour off the bat. And he's walked 3 times. What do you think when you hear those numbers?
3 times, 3 walks.
3 walks for Jackson Chourio. That's
awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. And I see the strikeout percentage is obviously not that high either. So that means he's not chasing as much. That's good news for the Brewers, man.
It's great news because what's the only thing holding him back, really? It's chase.
Yep.
And you know every pitcher that he faces knows that.
Exactly. That's going to be him taking the next step, man.
It remains the adjustment that he has to take. And we've seen him do it for stretches. Like when he's really locked in an at bat, he can put together a really quality at bat.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you're looking for optimism for this year, it's like the year 3 Jackson Chourio leap will be fueled by the swing decisions being a little more mature at the plate. And I don't know how much we want to buy into 3 walks in spring, but the at bats have certainly looked competitive.
comes Marlins reliever Tyler Phillips joining us right now on FT. Tyler, great to talk to you. And before we start talking about the 2026 season, we did have you once last year. Wanted to say hello and also congrats on a great 2025. You've really grinded to get yourself to this spot. So did you do some reflecting this offseason? Have a lot of fun with what you just accomplished?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys and what's up again. But yeah, no, honestly, not much time to reflect. Got a 6-month-old now, so kind of trying to support mom however I can. But nah, it was awesome, and it's definitely a grind of a season, just learning how to be a reliever. But yeah, I mean, I've been big on just letting go of what I did and just trying to look on to the next year.
By the way, I just wanted to say this. I know he's, I guess, New Jersey, but he's you're close to Philly, right?
Yeah, South Jersey.
He's got definitely the Jersey look going, dude. Like cut off sleeves. Look at that.
Gotta stay loose. Gotta stay relaxed.
Look
man.
at that. I mean, look at that.
There we go.
I mean, no wonder Kratz and Scott love you. I mean, they're like
we do.
Phillies fan growing up. I mean, total Jersey guy. I mean, Canely's here. Next thing you know, we'll have Canely over here talking about, Jersey, yo, Philly.
Yeah, I was too young to be on that scene, man. I just stuck around baseball, but now I'm in Miami, man. I got to show some personality. It's cool.
You have a kid now. Stay away from South.
I know. My wife would be upset if I was anywhere near there. Let's just clinch. Let's clinch a spot, and then we can convince her.
Yes, absolutely. So what are you looking forward to this year with the Marlins?
Dude, I mean, just being around those guys was such a blast. Like you guys said, it was kind of a grind throughout my career. I was like 9 years in the minor leagues, and then I went to Philly. God, I love those guys. Like I had so much respect for them, but it was hard for me to fit in. Just as a rookie, I was being timid, and I was trying to take it all in, like everyone said, but I was letting that leak into my performance. And once I got over here, I thought I was just going to be the weird new guy. Everybody there was a weird new guy. Everyone was a rookie. All the coaching staff was like their first year. So I'm just excited to go into battle with these guys again. Like I think we do a good job of playing for each other, not making it very selfish. Bullpen, I'm super excited for that. Obviously the addition of Pete, we got John King, we got they were both in Texas with me, so we got the Texas Marlins coming around. Brandon Mann also Texas, Ryan Enriquez Texas. So I'm just excited to just get into compete mode with these guys again and just get after it, try to make a name for ourselves.
Do you regret not being you when you first got called up? Because I know what it's like to wait a long time in the minor leagues, and then you get to the big leagues, and you're like, I'm older than a lot of these guys, but I need to be a rookie like everybody says you're a rookie. Do you regret that?
Yeah, man. That's the thing. Like, I didn't know what to expect. Like, I think from so many years in the minor leagues, I just like I knew that I saw myself as a big leaguer. I knew that I belonged there. But once I got there, I wanted to be that good rookie. So I was just creating extra jobs for myself. Where at the end of the day, like these guys aren't going to be upset with me if I'm showing my colors, as long as I'm performing, as long as I'm doing the right thing. Like obviously, don't be like out of like just completely obnoxious. Like guys are still trying to do their jobs. But yeah, man, I wish I kept that fire. Like I was scared to show it on the field. I was scared to show guys up. Like I remember specifically facing like Freddie Freeman, like probably the hardest at bat that I'll have. But I didn't want to like stare him down, or I didn't want to be the bulldog mentality I had on the mound, because I was like, oh, what if I upset this guy? Like at the end of the day, if I do what I'm going to do, I think I'll get more respect out of him than if I was to go in there being timid and have a 4-pitch walk. So yeah, I do regret it. I wish that I kept that bulldog mentality, but everything happens for a reason, and here we are now. And I learned a lot from that year of being that little kid. So now we're here.
Is that why you didn't slap yourself when you were in Philly? I mean, you could have got Brice or Schwarber or somebody to smack you.
I mean, listen, I did some other stuff in Philly that those guys know about it. Can't share that on the air. But dude, honestly, I just slapped myself because I got mad warming up one day. Like my stuff felt like
thing now though.
It's my thing now. Like, but like there's science behind why I do it. Like I said, I give up like 4 runs, the 2 outings prior. They throw you right back in the fire. That's how it is. And dude, it was like 80. It felt like I wasn't spinning the ball. I just stepped off the mound. I'm grinding my teeth. It was like nobody at this game. I just said, I'm just going to punish myself. And I hit myself. And I went out there, velocity jumped, the spin was spinning. So I was like, we're doing this from now on.
This time in spring training games?
I'm doing it in spring games.
So before you take them out in a spring training game, you smack yourself around a little bit?
Yeah, I've been doing it.
It's like Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club?
A little bit. I love that movie. I love that movie, but man.
That's in real life. You're Edward Norton and Brad Pitt.
I gotta get.
Sorry if you haven't seen Fight Club. I'm ruining it for you.
No, you have to see that movie. It's good.
What was his name? Tyler Durden.
Yeah, Tyler Durden, dude. What an unbelievable alter ego that would be.
That's you.
My God,
that's literally you.
You got to get some like mesh shirts, right?
Yeah,
just like this one, cut off mesh shirt.
Do the gum.
Got the shades.
I
don't have the hair for it.
Make soap.
But make soap for sure. No, but honestly, like the reason that I do it is, yes, I was upset, but I started understanding why it was working for me. There was nerves going into games. You get there's an adrenaline spike when your name is called. You don't always know, like you're prepared, but the starter, let's say Sandy set the tone. He just went 7 innings, right? I don't want to be the guy to like ruin that outing for him. So as your first year out of the bullpen, especially, you're sitting there, there's thoughts that creep in, there's demons. Like the really good guys, they're really good because they don't have those thoughts, or they do and they know how to get rid of them. That's my way of doing it. Like I cross that line. Well, the second they call my name, I'm grinding my teeth. I'm making up lies, what the hitters say about my family, about my wife. And I'm just pissed off, just pacing back and forth on the mound out there, just trying to look tougher than I actually am. I mean, look at me. But once I crossed that gate and I hit myself, I just got punched in the mouth by whoever. And there's fight or flight there. I wasn't raised to run away from stuff. There's no retreating back to that bullpen. So I hit myself. It's time to go. It's time to fight. That's my alter ego. Like Jesus Luzardo. He's got his sunglasses. That's his alter ego. That's my way of flipping the switch. And we talked about burning the boats. Like I hit myself. I'm burning my boats back there. I can't run back. It's time to go into battle. So it works for me, and I love it. I'm not going to stop.
Everybody sees you do that. It becomes viral. Everybody sees you out on the mound. Post-game interviews are like Jonathan Papelbon-esque, where you're saying like words and we just don't even, like nothing's really coherent because you're in a different zone. You've explained that well. How long does that take for you to come down from? This is something that people that never played don't understand. It just doesn't turn off. So how long does that take you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it depends on the outing. Like the one interview, I was mad, man. Like I threw like 35 pitches the day before. I was groomed as a starter. I want to go 9 innings every time. Even like as a reliever, my mentality is like, you are prying this ball out of my hand. Like I'm going to go 9 if you ask me to go 9, if it goes into extras. To be honest, it takes a while. We're going through our post-game like talks that we have, and I'm still in there fuming, man. And guys just kind of leave it alone. And then usually when I'm done lifting, if I had a lift that day, it's gone. Or, I got my good friend Lake Bacher. He shows up. He's got a good way of calming me down. So, but I think once we get inside, we go through the team meeting, whatever it is, the post game. Kind of cool down. I like to game too. I stay up late and I go back into compete mode. I'd say after the lift though, maybe 2 hours.
Do you ever watch other dudes throw and get just as amped? What made me think of the question was, I talked to some relievers during the postseason that weren't pitching in the postseason. They were already at home, and they were watching dudes come in and do what those guys did for their team, going 4 or 5. Do you ever get pumped, or do you ever get like almost jealous that you're like, I would love to be in that situation when you watch those guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, I went to this. I was still a minor league at the time. I went to a Phillies playoff game. I showed up in like the 6th inning, and my blood was going, man. Like I felt like the hairs on my neck standing up. I want those big situations. I get excited watching guys throw. I've been watching Paddack throw and work on some pitches, and I'm just again, hairs are standing up. I'm like, God, I want to start throwing right now. Like I want to get out there. But yeah, watching those huge innings, I'm jealous. Like it was hard for me to watch some playoff games. My wife wanted to watch them. And I just couldn't do it because I'm sitting there like just itching to get out there,
Do you have a skit like Paddack? He has a skit where he comes in like a cowboy. Have you seen him when he pitches the day he comes in?
He's got his
and the boots and everything.
I love it. He does it right now. He says he's keeping it low key. If I was a starter, I would think about it, but
I mean, you have your thing.
I have my thing.
Reliever, but you can't do that when you're a starter coming in because you have to last for a long time, right?
Dude,
you did it every inning. Then your face would get sore.
The game I started against the Phillies, like when I started getting tired in the second inning.
The second inning.
Yeah.
The second
after in between the second inning and the third inning, I hit myself again. Like pitching Moscow's, he's talking to me about like, hey, you got these guys coming up, and I'm just not listening. I'm just staring at the ground, legs bouncing. I'm just hitting myself. Yeah, I got some issues. But yeah, no, I love Paddack's thing, man. But to answer that question, I do get jealous. Like I want that big stuff. Like I want those big outings. It's the adrenaline. It's such a drug, man. And there's no better feeling than it.
All right, relievers or starters going to the bullpen is maybe one of my most fond memories of being a backup catcher that didn't play, just sitting in the bullpen and watching starters go down to the bullpen and like fidget. And then all of a sudden you hear, loo, 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 and they're like, it's probably me. I'm probably the one going into the game. Like, relax. How much of a transition or how much did you get made fun of? Or were you like, you have any moments where you were like in the bullpen going, like starting pitchers even start yelling at like the fans because they've never been down in the bullpen. It's like, oh, relax. Relax, Tyler. Like this is going to happen 162 days.
I think it took me 2 weeks to transition from that role. Dude, I had the iPad. I had the notes, the iPad. I was reading everything. You can't do that for 162, man. You're gonna fry yourself. You're gonna burn yourself out. So once I got tired after that 2 week mark, I just put the iPad down. I said, dude, whatever. If I get hit, I get hit. Now you throw your best stuff, but dude, I'm yelling at fans all the time. So again, stuff I can't say on air, but like if you're in enemy territory, people want to give you a piece of their mind. I give it right back. I don't think they probably should say that, but I don't think they expect you to say anything back. So I just let it rip, and they usually just stop. Like it catches them so off guard. But yeah, like I think let's say like Jansen Junk and like Beozo, their routines, man, they were doing everything. I didn't do a thing. I just stopped doing everything. Like I would do my basic little couple of eye wash, hip flexor stretches, do a couple bands. I realized that once that phone rings, like I said, that adrenaline is a powerful drug, man. Like it hits and you don't need to warm up. Like obviously you're doing your stuff throughout the day. Like you take care of your body the right way. We're professionals, but once you're out there, you're out there. Like
when you sit in the bullpen, you seem like someone that might get a little bored at times sitting in the bullpen. Are you a seed flicker? Are you
yeah,
what do you do? I was yourself occupied for the first five innings.
Well, the first 3 innings, I was the would you rather guy.
And are you picking like the would you rathers?
Yeah.
You're the dirty mind in the bullpen, coming up with the most disgusting things you can think of.
Pretty dirty, yeah. Again, stuff I can't share. Some pretty like stuff. It's just like, what are you thinking about, man? Yeah. There's somewhere guys just had to walk away, and I'm just up there thinking of an answer for myself. We've had the Mountain Valley bottles where we've tried to like shoot a seed into it. It was pretty fun. It lasted about an inning before you get tired of it. And then we usually just go down and start making fun of B-Man, our bullpen coach. Like we got this joke in Arizona. There's a water slide at the Biltmore.
Yeah.
We just always we give him a bunch of crap.
Like did the slide or
I don't even think he did it. I don't even think he did it, but he kept talking about it. So I keep that joke going to this day, and we just try to get under his skin. And then at the end of the day, like I said, I just go with the fans. Like Miami, we got that glass there too behind our bullpen, and they got like a bar. So sometimes I think at the end of the season,
they switched the bullpens at one time because of that problem.
I do know that.
They put the visitors over there.
I heard it was
the home was on the other side.
I heard it was crazy, like borderline no clothes back there. It's Miami.
Yeah. No, it used to be. I remember warming up the pitcher, and there would be people back there, and you are like.
Not watching a single pitch.
Yes. Well, why?
Yeah. Well,
there are times you give them like the.
For me,
around and give the old rubbing up the ball look.
For me, don't worry. To my wife, I was watching the baseball games on the TVs in the back. And towards the end of the season, I'm an Eagles fan. Some of the Birds games were on, so I was keeping track of that. But yeah, I mean, it does get a little boring. That's why you just got to be really close with your guys. And, sometimes we talk ball, sometimes we just make up ridiculous scenarios and just try to have fun.
Wait, do they not do I think it was Thursdays where they would have the body paint dancing? Do they not do that anymore because you guys are now, because that was the visiting bullpen because the home team was too distracted. So they don't do that anymore there in Miami.
Yeah, it's a good thing that I got there when I did, because they were not doing any of that. If they were doing that, I like, it would have been so hard to like lock in. There's already so much going on and people just knocking on the glass. You literally feel like a zoo animal. At that point, I would have been like, what are we doing?
It was bad. It used to be when they switched the visitors. It was bad.
I heard it was crazy. I heard you couldn't even hear the phone ringing half the time. So, I think they're making some adjustments.
So, someone sat there before it and said, "What if we build a nightclub like in the bullpen?" I know. I lived down there for a while.
Like random people swimming in the pool that should not have no shirt on swimming.
So my plan that I've talked to some higher ups, some front, like not like baseball ops, but like stadium ops.
Mm-hmm.
What if we named that club 11, like out there, but spelt it different than the Miami Club 11? So when people put the Uber in, it actually brings them there, and we get more fans. It's a club I haven't been to.
Oh, good answer.
I've not been there yet.
You've heard about it.
I've heard about it. But what if we named it 11 out there? So the Uber brings them to the wrong place, and now we have more fans. So they're not. Who's going to want to go back?
Especially to where 11 is and where the new 11. That's a long ways.
Yeah, they're going to just say, you know what? There's drinks here. We'll stay here. We'll watch a baseball game.
True.
Yep.
Smart guy.
That is a brilliant marketing idea. The owners at 11 might be a little pissed, but I feel like they're doing well enough that they can handle a few people messing up their Ubers and Lyfts and going to the ballpark. So I like it. I'm all for it. We'll make sure the word gets spread around to try and make that happen. All right.
Listen, I got a lot of ridiculous takes, honestly, 24/7. So people don't really listen to what I say. It's hard to take me serious.
All right. Well, next time we have you on, we'll just quiz you on like your top 10 ideas. And that'll be the conversation. This was great, dude. Really appreciate it. Super entertaining. Really excited for you too, in all seriousness, with the success you had last year. We'll be watching. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
All right, we'll be right back, FT fam. Chris Paddack, our next personality from Marlins camp, coming up.
Thank you.
Listen, I've been a big proponent of Bryson for a lot of years. I know it wasn't like the year that they wanted to have him the last couple of years, but I do believe, and I had another great talk with Kevin Long about him. He's just sort of picking up where he left off, driving the ball through the middle of the field. He's swinging at strikes. I know John Kruk talks about this a little bit. Sometimes you almost feel like he's not doesn't have a really good command of the strike zone, but now when he is in a much better hitting position, I think he sees the ball better. He's driving the ball through the middle of the field.
It almost looked like he got it, like kind of like
one-handed it, but he back spun it, and he's had some leverage to it. And I just like, his directness to his path right now. And this is a guy that they really need to have success because it lengthens out that lineup so much better. They need him on the base pass. He can steal bases. He can do some things. Hopefully he's starting to become the guy that they hoped he'd be. And I'm really bullish on this guy because instinctively he really knows how to play the game. And I always feel like those guys eventually will come to the surface, even offensively, kind of like the guys, I don't know, Ozzie Smith and Omar Vizquel, not great hitters offensively when they first started in the major leagues, but sort of got to that point where they got better and better and better because of their basic instinct in the game.
Well, Jim and I talked to him the other day, and he was pretty interesting talking to him about how his approach last season. He said, I kind of just turned left field off the second half of the year. He just moved the guy a little bit closer to play. As you know, he lowered his hands and he's tried to just, focus on hitting where the ball is pitched, to. So if it's on the outside, take it to the outside. He said sometimes during game, he'd be like, in this at bat, I want to hit the ball the opposite field. So he said he'd try to finagle his barrel around to try to get it to left field, and then he'd have a slow roll.
They took that waggle out.
Yeah, took the waggle out.
And he was pretty clear. He does not want a platoon. He wants to play 162. He understands they have a gifted player, and so.
Next up on the guest list, it's Chris Paddack joining us, freshly signed with the Marlins a couple weeks ago. Chris, great to have you on, man. It's good to see you, and congrats on the deal. It was pretty recent, so how was the offseason leading up to this?
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me, man. Love watching y'all's show. But this is, can't get much better. 75, 80 degrees in Jupiter, Florida. Kind of a surreal moment for me this offseason. This is a full circle opportunity for me. The team that gave me the first chance out of high school back in 2015, the Miami Marlins, and what an honor to be able to come back for the 2026 season and represent them in a big league uniform.
What does that mean to you? I mean, it means you must have done something right, and you were only here a short time.
That means I'm getting old, man.
Well, yeah, but still, what does it mean to be able to come back to a team? I know it's different people here and everything, but at one time, when you were drafted,
right?
Because you were a high pick, you were like, I'm gonna be a Marlin for life. I'm gonna be there forever. And now,
it's
years later, you're back.
On my way, this offseason, obviously free agent. Whenever I made that decision to sign with the Marlins, I drove from Texas. It's roughly about a 20-hour drive. You have a lot of time to yourself to think, and I really took in this moment of, hey, man, the last time you were headed to the east side of Florida, you were a 19-year-old kid out of high school chasing his dreams. Just really telling myself, don't forget that moment. How much I enjoy the game, how much, how hard I worked to get to that moment, and to kind of make this a full circle opportunity for me of showing this organization why they drafted me in the first place. Because like you said, I wasn't here very long. That first go around with the Marlins, got traded in 2016 to the Padres for Fernando Rodney. And being a young kid, I had no idea. I didn't know if that was a good thing, a bad thing at the time. But here we are, 2026, 11 years later, and really excited to be in Miami this year.
You mentioned the weather here in Jupiter. Now, when you go to Miami, it's going to be about June, July, and you come in your big leather coat and your cowboy boots. It's going to be hot.
Right.
So you might have to make a cowboy boots and shorts.
I'm gonna have like a sub 2 if I bring out the jorts.
Because it's gonna be hot when you start walking. You're gonna get a little sweat going just walking from the parking lot.
I'll sacrifice to look good.
Okay,
I can make that sacrifice.
Okay, I'm just warning you. Now you got a long time to go.
Absolutely.
What if some people always ask, like, would you rather know what was ahead, or would you rather have the journey and not know what's going to happen? If you talked to that 19-year-old kid and told him all the things you'd go through, do you think that 19-year-old kid would still have done exactly what you've done?
Man, I would say, I've loved my journey so far in my baseball career. It hasn't been the prettiest journey, from injuries to kind of being the spotlight my rookie season to kind of being on rock bottom with performance stuff and all the things in between. But I've learned a lot about myself as a grown man, not just on the baseball field, but outside the baseball field as well. And I think that's the beauty of this game, right? We're human beings at the end of the day. And I think that 19-year-old kid, I would say, hey, go enjoy the journey. everybody has their own paths, right? At a 19-year-old kid, you work hard, you try and separate yourself from the group in front of you, all these things. But when you get to this level, man, everybody is just as good, if not better, and their path was a little different of how they got there. So that for me, man, it is a special moment for me this year. I'm considered one of the veterans in the clubhouse, one of the leaders in the clubhouse already, and I'm excited for that opportunity to share my knowledge and help some of these younger guys that we have in the rotation all the way through the position player side as well. Because coming up, man, I had some awesome mentors and teammates as a 23-year-old kid making my major league debut over there in San Diego with Haas, Manny, Craig Stammen, which is a surreal moment that he's a manager and was a teammate of mine. Ian Kinsler, guys that I looked up to at a young age and was able to sit in the same locker room as those guys. They were a leader for me at one point, and now I get to pass the baton off and be a leader in a clubhouse, and I'm super excited for that opportunity.
Have they talked to you starting, relieving? Because you've kind of done both. You obviously were a starter for a long time. Yeah. You kind of relieved last year at the end. Have they talked to you about which side they're leaning towards with you?
We'll be a starter.
Be a starter?
Yeah.
Is that what you prefer, obviously?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've been that pretty much your whole life, right?
Yeah, it's, when I got traded over to Detroit last season, towards the end, that performance just wasn't backing it up. You look at their rotation, I had a gap to fill there, and AJ over there called it pitching chaos. When it comes September, man, y'all know how important those games are. It comes down to half a game, one game, whatever it is, and they thought that the best fit for me was going to be coming out of the bullpen, and I accepted that, right? I didn't have something to back it up. I had a 5.5 ERA. My biggest goal last year was to stay healthy, to show 30 teams that, the injuries are behind me. I'm ready to get the ball and I'm ready to pitch. And then in 23, coming back from Tommy John, I came out of the bullpen with the Twins. So I was already familiar with it. I wasn't just getting thrown to the wolves. And mentally, that was important for me of knowing that I can do that already. And I, shook AJ's hand and I said, hey, man, if you need me out of the bullpen, I'll be ready to go. But, talking to the coaches here, talking with the front office early off season, I will be a starter and excited to be behind Sandy and Yuri and learn from those guys.
Which do you like better? Obviously, you came up as a starter, but which do you like better, starting or relieving? We just talked to Tyler Phillips. That dude's like, man, he's high on relieving. He loves it.
Yeah. I don't slap myself in the face by any means.
Maybe try it.
I don't wear the cool glasses. I feel like I'm not weird enough to be a bullpen guy yet. Maybe on the back end of my career. But me personally, I really do enjoy starting. That's what I've done most of my career. I've had a couple bullpen outings, in 23, like I said earlier, with the Twins coming out of playoffs, and then last year with Detroit, of just, having that role of going into September with the pitching chaos that they called it over there. But, I think I was born to be a starter, and I have a lot to show for this upcoming season.
Hey, Chris, question for you. Can you go over some of the changes you made? I know last year some pitch mix changes, and then curious if Detroit tried to change you again once you got there, because I'm always curious about the balance, right? You want to adapt and evolve and play to your strengths and take tips from teams, but it's also your career. So what was that journey like over the past year or so?
It's been a lot of things for me. Most of my career I've been a north-south guy. I feel like I still am a north-south guy. Fastballs at the top, change-ups underneath. But I'm starting to learn that these hitters, man, they're so good. And they get paid the big bucks to swing the bat, right? Well, at this level, if a hitter's comfortable knowing that Chris Paddack's throwing strikes and that he can eliminate pitches, whether it's my breaking ball, whether it's a slider, curveball, and only focus north-south, now they're 50-50, right? If they guess right and I make a mistake, it's usually going to cost me. So not necessarily performance based that we're changing anything. When I went over to Detroit, it was them, saying that they love my arsenal. They love kind of what I bring to the table. Unfortunately, it didn't click over there with not being able to put together some good starts for them. That's why I got moved out to the bullpen. That's why I was off the playoff rosters. So that hurt. And I went into the offseason, excited to see what teams wanted me for the new opportunity of being this is my first free agent year. And coming over here, man, some of the media asked me a couple days ago when I got done pitching, what's one thing that you've enjoyed being a Marlin? And it's not necessarily, for me, it's the small things. And these coaching staff, man, they believe in me. They've told me that from day one. And I feel like as athletes, sometimes we need that reassurance sometimes. Sometimes this is a game of failure. We take home our thoughts. We're away from our families. Sometimes it's just us. So it's important to have some coaches, some teammates that believe in you to remind you who you are and what you're capable of. And that's exactly what this group has done. The guys in the locker room have welcomed me with open arms. They're excited for me to be a part of this group. And we're hungry, man. We do have a young staff from top to bottom, and I'm here to contribute any way I can. Like I said earlier, I don't have all the answers, but I do know a thing or two, and I'm excited to learn from them. And we hop on the horse and we all ride together.
Are you okay with them calling pitches from the dugout? Have they talked to you about that?
Yeah.
Because we had Clayton on. I asked him about that. Can you still shake them off? Are you okay? Hey, no, I don't really think so.
So when I had my Zoom call with the Marlins early off season, these were the conversations, right? I had my agent on the phone call with me of just answering these questions or asking these questions that we needed answers to, especially at this level. And one of those things that got brought up was the pitch design, bullpens, which is basically you're throwing a bullpen on the game mound, hitters are swinging, you got all the electronics that you need as far as TrackMan data, all that. That was a conversation that I would love to bring up to you in a little bit. But to answer your question, Rob calls the pitches from the dugout, and I tell him he gets to play MLB The Show every day. The live version.
But then there's one difference though.
What's that?
It ain't a video game. When you let it go, it doesn't always go where you want it to.
And it's not his runs, it's mine. That's what I tell him. But he gets to play MLB The Show every day, make it fun, right? But on a serious note, we do have the ability to shake off. My last outing, I shook off on a 3-2 to get to the pitch that I wanted. We executed it, got a swing and miss. But for me personally, right, there's a lot of stuff that I've taken in the last couple of years out to the mound, whether it's good or bad. And my head does never, when you're on that island alone, man, you can work on the mental toughness, all the, your breath work, all the things. But when you're on that island alone, man, you black out. And sometimes we overthink, we overprocess things. We forget, runners on second and third, 2 outs. We forget the situation because the game speeds up. If Rob calling pitches from the dugout on looking at the cheat sheet that they have, trust in his eyes, trust in our catchers, trust, just the games in front of him. If that takes a little bit of stress off my shoulders and I can just execute whatever's been called, I think we're going to be in a really good spot.
You could just not shake and just let the catcher call every pitch.
Right. You look at
or the pitching coach or the coach in the dugout now, right? I mean, Mark Burley, Chris Sale, they don't shake. They don't have to think then.
Right. And I think for me, we do our homework during the week. At the end of the day, you're trying to compete with whoever's in the box. But sometimes we catch ourselves giving them too much credit, and then you're not really competing. You already lost that battle, right? So at the end of the day, if I hear fastball, if I hear changeup, if I hear curveball, sweeper, slider, whatever, okay, it's like, okay, let me execute right here. I know who's on base. I know the situation. I know who I'm facing. I know what count it is. I'm able to slow it down because that is already handled for me from the dugout. And then the second thing, and this is talking for me, not talking for the team. Everybody has their own mixture of views on it. But the pitch design bullpens, man, it's going to change my career. It's going to change my season this year. I know that's a bold statement because we haven't even started the season yet, but I truly am excited to see what that can do for me as an individual, because sometimes 4 or 5 days in between starts is too much time. You know, you come off a bad outing. What do we want to do? We want to get back out there, right? We come off a good outing. We want to keep those tools sharpened, and that's exactly what that is for. You get to sharpen your tools. You get to compete against your teammates. You get live reads. You get live feedback. The only con that I have with that is you have to manage the volume. At the end of the day, I got to be ready to pitch day 5 or day 6, because that truly doesn't go on the back of a baseball card. You know, that day 5 or day 6, whenever skipper gives me the ball, said it's your day, that's what matters. So if I can manage the volume all season, that right there is going to be able to sharpen my tools. I'm able to get those live reads, live feedback, reading swings, and being able to work those stressful situations that happen in game. 2-strike execution, runners on base, get out of it. You know, whatever that looks like, right? Me and Rob calling pitches. Hey, man, we're not on the same page. Let's use that to work on some things. And I think it's a full circle opportunity for me as an individual. Like I said, I know different starters, different bullpen guys have their own reviews on it. But I truly am excited to take that into the 2026 season.
Well, we look forward to it, right?
Yeah, Chris, great stuff, man. Always great to catch up with you. Good luck this season. We'll catch you at some point during the season. Yeah, exactly, AJ. That's what you did behind the plate, right? Just doot. All right, here it comes, exactly where I want it. Chris, good stuff, man. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you during the season, okay?
Yeah, thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We got your teammate Kyle Stowers waiting next. We'll get to him right after the break. Hey, the spring training tour is engineered by Fastenal, where industry meets innovation. For more information, go to fastenal.com. That's FASTENAL.com. And we love them for sponsoring the spring training tour, which is now in its 3rd week of existence. It's the longest spring training tour in baseball, 5 weeks. And during week 3 here, we're finishing up Marlins camp with maybe 1 or 2 more interviews. Kyle Stowers will join us next. Then Mets, Nationals, Astros to round out the rest of the week. Next week, Braves, Rays, Orioles, Twins, Red Sox, and we'll have 4 more camps the week after to finish this thing up. Very, very exciting for us to be able to visit all of these teams and talk to these players. Thanks to the Marlins for being great hosts today. And thanks to Fastenal, here's a quick little look at what they bring to the mix. Hey, when you're keeping the lights on for thousands or even millions, reliability isn't optional. Fastenal helps power generation teams stay running with the right parts, tools, and safety gear right where the work happens.
From turbine maintenance to everyday MRO needs, our local teams and on-site solutions keep your crews supplied, efficient, and safe. Fastenal, powering up productivity one plan at a time.
Want to learn more? Visit fastenal.com for industrial supplies and innovative solutions. That's FASTENAL.com. all-star Kyle Stowers joining us right now at Marlins camp. Kyle, great to have you on here. And I do want to start there. How do you sum up 2025 before you enter this 2026 regular season?
Yeah, I think the coolest part is just to look back at where I was at last year at this point, and it's been quite different circumstances. So just grateful to be in the spot that I'm in now. And man, this time last year I was kind of in full panic mode. So it's so nice to not be in that spot as much.
He's big time. He doesn't even have to play today against Team Israel. Yes. He's so big time now. He picks and chooses. So he's like, oh, they're not a real big league team. I don't want to play against them today. So, Clayton, I'm taking the day off.
Well, last year, Kyle, during a time like this, you're getting ready for a spring training game. How different was it for you from a prep standpoint? Right now, you're prepping for being your best self in the regular season. Last year in spring training, you're trying to make a name for yourself and make sure that the team knows you're here to stay, right?
Yeah, I think, and there's still a little bit of that, like I don't want to lose the edge that, I think I've had in all the, big league camps I've been in. Like, I think, all I know is going into spring training, needing to be ready to compete, and compete for a job. And so, for me, it's not like, let's just, keep the foot off the gas pedal until, the season starts. For me, there's, just trying to be intentional with my work. And yeah, we have a little bit more perspective of, you don't want to, go maybe full gas, at all times. But that being said, I don't want to lose that edge of competing.
How do you turn it off?
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know how to turn it off.
I mean, you said you're not going full gas, but how do you turn it off in a game, in a spring training game?
Yeah, and that, I think when it comes to the game, it comes, I think for me, it's like rather than, it's less about the games. I would say it's more in the cage. Maybe like if I'm not feeling as good as I want, rather than like trying to hack it out in a day. Just being a little bit more mindful of stuff like that. Especially I think finishing the year injured, the last month injured. Just being a little bit more mindful that we're trying to get through. Hopefully into October, right? And so I think that's where the changes are for me.
Are you a big swinger, or do you take a million swings?
Yeah, I'm a guy that can definitely spend a lot of time in the cage, and probably too much.
And what about like live BP? Are you a taker? Are you a watcher, and then you don't want to swing, and all of a sudden you swing?
That's an interesting conversation. I was talking about that with a few guys. I feel like early in camp, I've done both. Like I've done, in years past, I've done, hey, I'm going to see a pitch every single time, no matter what, for as long as I can. And then, but I also feel like I get more calibrated by swinging. And, even if that, by being a little bit more aggressive and seeing kind of where my misses are, so I think, I would say definitely someone who likes to swing.
How do you get, besides like being able to mitigate your exertion in spring training, how do you get ready for all 162 plus October that you didn't get ready, or you weren't prepared or told how to get ready before?
Yeah, I think that's something I'm still learning about. Last year was my first full year in the major leagues. And so, I guess, part of it, I would take it to you guys. What were some things that you guys learned during your career? Because you guys were
I didn't hit all off season, so that helped.
Yeah. So
but you don't seem like you're going to pull that one off. So.
No, that's not me. But I don't know, still figuring it out. I think, just getting better at, I think, quality reps, quality over quantity, and like I said, making sure that, if something's not exactly where I want it to be at, if I'm not feeling my best, today, it's, rather than trying to, take 3 steps in one day, being okay with taking, one small step at a time.
Well, like I think it was Magglio Ordonez or Carlos when the White Sox, when I got to the White Sox, they told me they would say this. If they felt good, they would swing extra. And if they felt bad, they just stop swinging that day. I think they'd be like, you know what? Instead of trying to hit 1,000 balls and swing your way out of it, they said, hey, I feel like crap today. I'm just going to go play the game and go from there and not try to work on it. And then if they felt good, they'd take a little extra because they wanted to get the good feeling locked in.
Yeah, that actually makes a ton of sense to me. I think there's, because when you're not feeling good, you're probably thinking more and fatiguing yourself more. And so I know how often, on those days that happen, that are bad days, do you really, move the needle? I think that's a great point. Something I'm going to probably take from them a little bit.
Just give me credit.
I will give
someone
you
asked me, like, oh, you hit 50 this year, Kyle. Drove in 140. What happened? Oh, it's conversation.
Yeah. Look,
I was on foul territory that time. Really told me.
I love it.
All right, Kyle, everybody wants to do better. Do you think you're just going to do better because you're going to play in 162 games, you'll stay healthy, or do you see yourself taking a next step? I know that's crazy to say to a lot of fans, but when I watch you play, I feel like there's still low-hanging fruit that you can improve on a season where you had over a 900 OPS, you were an all-star, you did so many things, but do you see areas where you can improve, or are you like, I'm good, I'll hang around right where I'm at?
Yeah, I think 100% I still have room to improve. I think, the last thing I also want to say is like, that just because I had this amazing year last year, I just show up and it's going to automatically happen again. I know, being a guy who is not far removed from getting my butt kicked at the major league level night in and night out, I know how much it takes, day in and day out to have success at this level. And so, but as far as like areas to improve, I think just the quality of the at bat continued to get better and better as the year went on, being smarter about situations, how teams were attacking me and picking and choosing spots where maybe my focus was more, hey, try to just take a good at bat and pass to the next guy when they were less aggressive to me, or getting better at picking and choosing my spots to take a chance on a pitch.
Any extension talks? I know there was rumors of some this offseason. Have they reapproached you about that?
Yeah, nothing since some of the ones that took place. I love it here. It's something that I'm definitely open to discussing. And but that being said, just I'm going to give you the unfortunate.
What'd you major in Stanford?
Communications.
So you're not a math major?
And not a math major. Math wasn't my exceptional subject, unfortunately. But no, I'd love to do something, and I'm very interested in doing it. But at the same time, just trying to, like I said, it takes a lot to try to have success at this level, and just trying to, keep my focus
about
on
it.
that.
You signed like a 10-year, $400 million deal. How much stress is off your table?
Yeah, that would be nice.
But there is something to that. There is something to the stress of trying to get an extension. Some people are like, well, who cares if it's stress? It's a lot of money. But then there's also something to the idea of what you were just saying. Like being able to say, okay, I'm locked in. And I've seen guys have great years, and then after they were locked into an extension. Do you feel that, or do you see that in other players?
I think how I look at it is whether it's stats, money, whatever it is, I think that stuff is a byproduct, right? And, the last thing I want to do, is try to go, feel like I have to have something or that I need to be an all-star, or that I need to go, be this certain guy, and skip all the steps and stuff that it takes to get there. I think, for me, what I really pride myself in is how I carry myself, how I treat people in the clubhouse, my work ethic, my mental routine, all that stuff. And whatever comes after that, it's all gravy. And, for me, there's this thing that I love. I got it from a Clifton Strengths Finder coach I talked to. It's called the be, do, have, and we get it backwards. We act like that. We need to have something, and what we have influences our actions. And then once we act a certain way, then we can, be that person, and so I want to be the person, first, for me, it starts with, being a good husband, being a good father, when I go home from the field, and, if I can choose to be that guy, be a good teammate, work hard, all that stuff, then that influences, what I do. And then I think what I get from there is the byproduct of that.
How many times last year, just in the All-Star weekend, did you think, man, I thought this was going to happen in an orange uniform. I thought this was going to happen as an Oriole. Not saying you were vindictive or hateful or anything like that, but how many times during just that weekend, not during the season, what did that thought come into your head?
I think that's something that hindsight I've thought about a lot, actually. I think what was super cool about, I was, when I got traded, I wanted the trade to happen. But at the same time, I was very sad to be leaving the group of guys that I was with. And even now I can, still visualize what that would have looked like. I could visualize a world in which, I was an everyday player with the Orioles, with those group of guys. And I think, with the chance, stepping out into, outside of my comfort zone into a new organization, with a new group of guys, I think that actually allowed me to grow into, even more. Right. And I think that was what was so cool about, everything that happened in Miami last year for me was I think it actually, brought out more of myself than maybe I might have had in Baltimore.
Hey, I have one more for you. I don't think we had you after this happened. So, how did you reflect on the All-Star game experience and the history that you made? We never saw the swing off before. It ended up being super fun. So, when you were able to kind of reflect, take a second, can you take us through any of the inner workings there of how that all went down and how that, just gives you even more of a boost from the year that you had?
Yeah, I was so terrified when they told me I was going to be doing that. Why? I'm a guy, fear of failure, performance anxiety, something I work through a lot. But, I'm the guy, the day before I see our schedule, I like to visualize my day, plan it out, all that stuff. And so when they told me that, all of a sudden I was so nervous. But then the coolest thing was after it happened, I was just so grateful that I got the chance to be a part of that. And once I got in the box, just as like when we play, you snap into competitive mode and try to simplify things and not get worried about, any of the, what ifs and all that stuff. And it was nice because I actually struck out twice in the game. So the talk away experience with my family was all about the swing off. So that was nice.
You weren't beating Schwarber anyway, so
yeah. Thankfully, he was on my team. So,
yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly. You got to walk away with the W.
Exactly.
That's so fun.
Yeah, man, that was really fun.
A common thread here. He went to Stanford. I mentioned it. Every Stanford guy I ever played with, I don't know about you, Kratz, overthinks, oversmart, tells me how smart they are. Oh, I went to Stanford. It's like, I don't understand what's so Stanford. Some of us turned down Stanford. We all don't have to go to Stanford.
No, you don't.
He did. Hinch tried to recruit him over at Stanford. AJ Hinch and Pierzynski said, "Nah, I'm going to the big leagues."
No, what happened is Hinch was there.
Yeah.
And Niner.
Yep.
Calls me. He's like, "Hey, I want you to come out for a visit." And I'm like, "Well, isn't Hinch like your freshman All-American?" He's like, "Yeah, but you can DH." I'm like, "No, I'm good, dude. Thank you, though. I'm good."
No, thank you.
I'm good. Yeah.
It worked out for everyone. Same with you, Kyle. Awesome to have you back on. Appreciate the time. Have fun the rest of spring. We'll catch you during the season.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
Really fun. Great visit for us at Marlins camp. More to go when we swing back. We're hitting some home run specialties right now for BetMGM futures. So let's do most regular season dingers. And we're doing the Pete Alonso versus Juan Soto special. It's close to even money here. Pete minus 115, Soto minus 110. Who do you have in this matchup, Kratz?
Pete. Juan Soto's going to try to go 40-40. If you were talking about stolen bases, okay, maybe I would say Juan Soto. Pete's going to Baltimore. Pete is not just he's like people are being like, oh, he's motivated, new contract, all this stuff. To me, I don't think that's what it's about. I think this dude is he is a locked in, guaranteed 35 plus home runs. And Juan Soto could be in the MVP category again. I get that, but you were talking about just home runs. Pete, I'll take it at minus 115.
Okay, I'll give you context from last year. Pete hit 38, and that was in a full season of ABs. For Soto, same thing, full season, 43. Yep. Pete moves to Baltimore. That should help, right? Easier to hit homers there than in Queens? No? Pretty similar?
Yes, okay, sure. I would say it's better. Camden Yards, they move the fences in a little bit and left. To me, Pete can hit him out of Yosemite National Park, not just Camden Yards or Citi Field. Like, yes. Is it going to help him? Yes. To me, I love the fact that he's getting planted right into a lineup that has experience around each other. Juan Soto has good players around him, but they don't know all how to hit together yet. They don't know what it's going to look like when Juan takes that nasty 3-2 pitch into dirt and goes ball 4. I think there's going to be too many walks for Juan to take Pete. But you know what? If Juan's listening to this and he's like, all right, I'll just go hit 50 home runs. If he came on tomorrow and said, I'm going to hit 50 home runs, I would be like, all right, I'll switch it, because Juan Soto can do what he wants to do. If he wants to hit more homers, he'll do it.
Yep. Good call. Hey, BetMGM players will receive an any sport parlay boost token this year to use the parlay boost token right now. If it's in your little BetMGM account, you can add it, made up of any sport wagers, to your bet slip, and that includes World Baseball Classic coming up in a couple days. Activate the token. If you win your wager with that token, you get extra winnings. Gambling problem or concern, there's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's charge the mound. It's presented by the Fox One app, and let's talk about the World Baseball Classic. So this is what we're going to do today, guys. Power rankings. MLB.com put power rankings out there for the World Baseball Classic teams that they think are in the best standing, and they're, I think, factoring in some past performance, as you should. As good as the Team USA roster looks on paper, they did not win last time around. So MLB.com put Japan number 1. They still have the best player in the world in Ohtani. Even if he doesn't pitch, I still think he might in the right situation. They still have one of the best pitchers and one of the most clutch guys on the mound starting games for them in Yoshi Yamamoto, Seiya Suzuki, and many others part of that lineup. I'll just run through the rest, and then I'll let you guys slice and dice. AJ is going to be calling some of these games coming up. Team USA is in the 2 slot. Then they have the Dominican Republic, led by guys like Vladdy Jr., Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, Fernando Tatis Jr., Venezuela, featuring guys like Ronald Acuna Jr., Ranger Suarez on the mound, William Contreras, and they have Team Mexico at 5, Puerto Rico 6, Korea 7, Canada 8, Colombia 9, Netherlands 10, Chinese Taipei 11, and Team Italy at 12. Focusing on the top 5, AJ, any places that you would mix and match?
I honestly, Scott, I can hear you, but I can't see. So I'm trying to see the thing.
You don't need to see. You don't need to see, AJ. I mean, and for the podcast crowd too. Okay, so you have them over Japan. Okay.
Yes, just because I'm from USA. I'm not from Japan, so I'm going to root for the USA. Right? So,
yeah,
I mean, let's get serious.
Give me analysis. Why do you have Team USA above Japan?
I just think I think a lot of the players now that we're on Japan have started to trickle over to the United States. People have seen them more. They have more bats. They're not at full strength like they have been in the past, just because of worries about different things. And I think that USA has finally gotten to the point where they're starting to get a lot of, not all, but a lot of their best pitchers. Skenes 2 starts, Logan Webb 2 starts, Skubal. Yes, I know everyone's complaining, but it's still 55 pitches against Great Britain, right? Then they have Matthew Boyd. They have a lot of their best players, position players. Look at that lineup today and tell me that's not a good lineup. Right. And then they're starting to get a lot of the best pitchers. So I think USA wants to win. They need to win this one. Japan has 3. USA only has 1. It's time, USA. So it's time. Plus, I might work for USA Baseball at one point coming up soon. So, of course, I'm rooting for the USA. I'm biased.
I mean, you are the most chameleon person I've ever seen. Somebody from New York. Yo, bro, I'm from New York. Yo, Chicago. I love Chicago. Yo, I'm from Florida. Yo, I'm with Coach Team Poland. Nah, it's going to be Team USA. Whatever it is. Either way, I believe that Team USA is the most talented team. But when we talk about power rankings, I'm viewing it as who has the best chance of winning. And I still think, until it doesn't happen, Japan has the best chance of winning this. Maybe they don't have the best talent. Maybe there's talent we don't see. Like AJ said, some of these guys, you're starting to see Seiya. You've seen Ohtani forever. You've seen Yamamoto. So these guys have an idea of what they're actually bringing to the table. The reality is these dudes have been playing and are game ready sooner. They haven't been playing their season, but Team Japan, they call them, in other years, they call it Team Samurai. They have like almost like a camp where they're coming together and they're staying ready. What that looks like, I have no idea. One of the guys told me about it when we played over there. They stay ready differently than our pitchers do, than our hitters do. And so it's something that you get the opportunity to be together as a team a lot longer than Team USA, a lot longer than the DR, a lot longer than Venezuela. All teams that have a lot of talent, just like Japan, but they've been playing together, working together, and they're ramped up to a different point, minus the guys who are on big league teams in MLB. But it's just different, and I think that gives them a very distinct advantage in this tournament, where it's like Team USA, Team USA, Dominican, Venezuela, they're going to go out and it's like, hey, if this star can do something, they're going to beat you. Where Japan's going to lay that bunt down. They're going to move the runner over. They're going to do things to be able to win tournament-style baseball.
By the way, Aaron Judge is the captain of Team USA. What'll mean more to him? Or what's bigger, winning the WBC or getting a World Series with the Yankees?
Obviously. World Series with the Yanks, obviously.
No, no, you can't say that, Scott, because you said the other day that this means more than the playoff game.
Get off your stump. Scott. Get off your stump. We're about to call those. You can like both. You need to add them. And hey, he's got a much better chance of winning a World Baseball Classic right now with the team that he's sporting out there. I mean, it's the facts.
And by the way, we didn't even mention the DR. The DR team is stacked.
Well, that was going to be my follow here. Yeah, I think the rankings are fine, but the DR is stacked. You're right, AJ. And it's not just the lineup. The lineup can keep up with any other lineup. I'm like, Christopher Sanchez, Sandy Alcantara, 1-2 in the rotation, and they're going to let them go, right? They're going to let them eat. They're going to get their turns. USA has to do a little more mixing and matching. We learned not just Skubal pitching against Great Britain. It's going to be 55 pitches. Then he goes home. He's not going to pitch again. So there will be a little more puzzle piece solving for Team USA versus a team like the Dominican Republic that's just going to probably roll those four or maybe one other, right, for one or two turns here in the tournament. And they're going to make sure they line those guys up the way that they need to line up, where Team USA has to kind of tinker with, okay, how many days rest does he get? Like, it's just going to be a little bit different in my mind for Team USA. That'll be the trick, is getting through all of the rules that some of the pitchers have. Anyway, we'll talk much more about this, of course. 47 games, and it starts tomorrow. 47 WBC games starting tomorrow on the Fox One app. You can stream the World Baseball Classic live from March 6th through the 14th. Yes, I know tomorrow's the 4th because those games start overseas. And start your 7-day free trial at fox1.com. We're super pumped about it. We'll talk more about it every single day. Fox One, by the way, the app, you can stream all your Fox favorites together in one place, and they have a ton of sports coverage all season long, NFL, college football with Big Noon, the whole deal, and then the baseball season starting up right after the World Baseball Classic. So again, start your free 7-day trial today on the Fox One app at fox1.com.
Speaking of pulling the baseball, I know I made a brief comment about Logan O'Hoppe. Some thought maybe I had just plucked it, out of the small social media clip from Driveline, but I have watched a lot more than that. And I think Brady had a very good point on Logan. Searching for the perfect mechanical swing. That is it doesn't exist. There's the answer. It is something that makes a lot of sense in golf as well. You know, if I just perfect my swing, those scores will come right on down. In baseball, the perfect swing will lead to me having the same line as Aaron Judge. Doesn't really work that way. You would need to find the best swing for you. And I think if Logan is chasing perfection, that will lead to anxiety. And Brady touched on that. I think he's looking for Logan to be able to breathe a little easier in the box, trust that the swing that he does have is going to produce. And when those offers, you have a couple games back to back, it's not a big deal. You're a good player. You've done it before. You're going to do it again. You don't need to panic. You don't need to go seek out advice and ask around. I think that's one thing. If I were to give O'Hoppe, any advice, it's to, at the end of the day, trust yourself. Don't, trust yourself and trust your hitting coaches, because you have two very good ones. As far as the outside influences, if they help, so be it. But it sounded like last year he was really struggling with too many voices, too much unsolicited advice, which is always going to happen when you're not playing well.
Breaking news popped again. Jurickson Profar is facing a 162-game suspension after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug for the second time. Remember, he missed half of last year when he was popped. Then he came back late last year. Braves didn't make the playoffs, but he wouldn't have been eligible. This time around, that suspension doubles. 1 full season. I see facing from Passan and from some others. Maybe that is because he could try to appeal it. I haven't been able to read the articles yet because we are on the air. Kratz is shaking his head, so maybe I'm off there. Either way, I mean, he's been caught multiple times, so I think it's a done deal. Am I off on anything there?
Unless they changed how the process works. You test positive, they test your second sample, it becomes a positive test. You get notified, the team does not get notified. You have an appeals process. That appeals process, unless you as the player let it out in the public, tell somebody to write about it, Ryan Braun, then you can then go through the appeals process. It usually takes anywhere from 15 to 30 days. And once that appeal comes back, they say, nope, it's upheld. Then that's when it goes out to it's announced to the Players Association, to Major League Baseball, the team, and then obviously it gets released to the public. So I don't know how, if he has an appeals process that's pending, then it's his camp that let it out.
Which could be the case.
Ridiculous.
But
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Sorry. It's ridiculous. Sorry. And last year, remember, everyone's like, oh, he made a mistake. He didn't know what he put in his body. What happened this time? And I love Profar. I played with Profar when he first came up, but you can't have this happen. I'm sorry. Like, no matter what there's no excuse at this point. If you don't give me the excuse also of, oh, sometimes their trainers give them stuff and they just trust the trainer. If you've already been popped once, you damn sure better not trust your trainer again. Like, what are we doing? This is just now this just becomes blatant cheating, right? This is just blatant. I can outclass the system. I'm breaking the rules. I know what I'm doing. You missed the whole year. You cost yourself a bunch of money. I'm sorry. This is awful. This is just awful.
Time for the Braves to sign a starter, by the way. So he popped off on the field. Kratz had the famous quote about talking about his exit velocity spiking this late in his career and saying it was fishy. So he signed a 3-year, $42 million deal with Atlanta. Last year, the money was $12 million. That was cut in half, so it was $6 million. I'm talking about Atlanta as a team that is dumbly profitable, but they didn't spend on starting pitching like you thought they would this offseason, and they're down 2 starters. Now you're again looking like, hey, what's the plan here? They will probably save another $15 million on Profar, who, by the way, was not thrilled about looking at a lot of DH time this coming season. That's not going to be a thing now. So wipe him off, right? I think they'll be fine on the offensive void, but it's a team now that AJ hasn't had to withstand a lot of the contract for Profar. Again, I'm not saying it was a money thing for the Braves this offseason because they are flowing in cash Ken Rosenthal has mentioned this multiple times on Fair Territory, how they don't want to give up a pitching spot like Bryce Elder or Joey Wentz. They could be waiting, and you don't like to say this, but maybe somebody on the roster gets hurt and then they're able to IL that person, and then they have a spot open and they can sign someone like Zach Littell or Lucas Giolito. It seems like such a slam dunk for this team to go after another starter.
Yes, but we'll see. Agreed. We'll see. Giolito, Littell, those are probably the two biggest names out there. I mean, it would make total sense. And now they have what, 14 or 15 million off the books. So here's your chance, Atlanta.
I think they were going to make a move no matter what anyway. I think I really think they're going to make that final push at the end of spring training for somebody, or maybe partway through spring training, but we're getting towards the end here.
Right. That was my point. So they do have a void now. I mean, we'll see who the DH is going to be, I guess, for the team. It's not, they could trade for a bat. Maybe they
Sean
trade
Murphy.
for
Drake Baldwin.
What? Oh, true. Right. You can fit one of those guys in to get more DH time. That's a good point. Very good point. Valid. Although Murphy's not going to begin the year healthy. So at least to start the year. Yeah. At some point you can mix those guys in. That's fair. All right, cool. Well, we'll look more at that tomorrow. If there's more news that comes out that way, we'll slap hands next. Hey, Out of the Park Baseball 27 is almost available for everyone. First off, let's show you a little ad that they put together, and then we'll talk about it.
In baseball, there are two constants: the greatness of the game and of the players. Legends live in Out of the Park Baseball 27. The brand new edition of the renowned baseball strategy game enjoyed by fans around the world is here. The 27th edition of the only MLB licensed PC strategy game is a baseball fan's dream come true. The newest and biggest version of Out of the Park Baseball is packed with loads of features and improvements, including all new advanced stats tracking. Changes the game forever. Play the real World Baseball Classic as it happens. Out of the Park Baseball 27 is here. The Infinite Baseball Sandbox. Available March 13th, 2026.
Yes, 10 days away from OTP 27 for the baseball nerds out there like me. I love this game for a long time now. Keeps getting better. There's so much World Baseball Classic content in there too that you should check out, special for this year. 10 days away. You can pre-order today for 10% off. Wish listed on Steam soon, and also will be 10% off all of launch week. Scan the QR code on the right side of your screen for more info. And then in about 45 seconds, we'll come back. We'll do slap hands. The one thing we didn't get to, by the way, today was the extension season kind of conversation. We'll save that for tomorrow. Be right back. Okay, people, let's slap. And also reminding everyone that Hot Sheet now airs on Tuesdays, 3 o'clock East Coast time on the Baseball America YouTube channel. They're going to go over some of the top prospects that you need to know in the World Baseball Classic. I'm excited for that. We'll also get their take on the spring breakout announcement that it'll be a tournament format coming up next year and the year after that. JJ Cooper and the group from Baseball America, they do prospects better than anybody else. Thanks to the Marlins, by the way, the PR, the players, the coaches, the whole deal. AJ, they were fantastic out there. So give them our love in Jupiter, and your 2-day stop in the same facility comes to a close. Port St. Lucie next up, then the Palm Beaches. So Mets camp, then Nationals camp, then Astros camp to round out the week. AJ, you having fun in your home state?
I am. I'm going to name drop just for Kratz because he loves it. But I'm super happy about the 10 a.m. arrival today by the Marlins. Thank you. Do not thank the Marlins enough. It allowed me to go have breakfast with some guy named Michael. I don't know if you guys know who Michael is, but not Michael Beer. He's been winning NASCAR races. So it was nice. It was a nice morning to get up there and see some buddies. And now I get to go to Port St. Lucie tomorrow. And the Marlins, thank you. You were amazing.
You had breakfast with Michael Jordan?
No, I'm not going to name drop.
As Kawa said, Michael Jordan says, play hard. Jordan, you better have picked up the bill.